opening statement, Your Honor, we would ask that they come at the end, so that it's the last thing the court hears from the prosecution before moving on to the defense.
All right, I will grant you leave, so if you wanted to make any argument, ma'am.
Thank you, Your Honor. I will defer shortly to the family. As I indicated, as there is simply no way I could adequately describe the impact of this tragedy better than they could do themselves. They are incredibly eloquent, and the court should hear their words immediately before hearing from the defendant. But for me, this case is about arrogance. Toxic, unrelenting arrogance of a man who believed the rules didn't apply to him, and whose statements right up and through his interview with probation continue to be soaked in entitlement. The one thing every kid hears over and over as they learn to drive, as they head toward their 21st birthday, is don't drink and drive. Don't drink and drive because you might kill somebody. This defendant didn't just drink and drive. He started with breakfast Bloody Marys, then drove himself and his buddies to the golf course where they continued to drink, culminating in the defendant's purchase of 6 shots right before they left the course, with the defendant still the driver. They stopped for more alcohol on the drive back to his buddy's lake house where they continued to drink. He then chose to get in his car, multiple friends in tow, and drive some more. Nearly 3 times the legal limit, and, in defendant's own words, after having enough to drink to have a good time. He then drove down that narrow, winding residential road in such a manner people who saw him stopped mid-conversation. People talking in their kitchens stopped mid-sentence when the vehicle went by. Described it flying, spinning gravel, hauling ass with a trail of dust behind it. One witness said her heart had dropped, and her first thought was how she hoped nobody was out walking their dog. No, the Seafried family was in their yard. Mom, Dad, little Lucia, and the family dog. The defendant shattered every single one of those lives that day. And while the impact on that family can never, ever be adequately put into words, I also want to recognize the larger impact as I stand here today. Like a pebble dropped in a lake, the impact to the police officers who responded to that scene, the neighbors, the paramedics, the community that surrounded them, their lives were forever changed. To all of us with children who suddenly worry if playing in the yard is safe, that think about putting up extra fencing to put up boulders along the roadway, we're forever worried, what if us? If the Seafrieds, what if us? This was not just a drunk driving, not to minimize that crime at all, just echoing the defendant's laments to probation. This was murder. And make absolutely no mistake, the only reason a 13.5-year sentence was offered was solely at the mercy of this family. Because with all due respect to even probation's middle of the guidelines recommendation, that doesn't come near the appropriate sentence under the law and under these facts. If I were arguing what I thought the defendant deserved today, it would be over guidelines. I have never in my career seen a case more deserving, legally or factually, than this one. And while I trust this honorable court to absolutely know there is no factual or legal basis to depart below guidelines, because of statements made by the defendant and his family, I want to make it abundantly clear to them. If the sentence deviates by this agreement by even a day below, I am withdrawing from this plea as I stand here, and I'm asking the court to set this directly for motions in a 2-week jury trial. There is no need for a settlement. Offers would be gone. This was their mercy and their mercy alone. So with that, I will turn to the Seafrieds and ask that you all hear their words into your hearts this morning.